Hi, and welcome to another episode of Allen ISD Q&A. Today, I'm happy to welcome Matthew Denman, the culinary arts teacher at Allen High School, and also the chef of Blue Bistro. How are you doing today, Matthew?
Pretty good. How are you?
I'm doing all right. Thanks for asking. So today, with having you on the chat here, today we're going to be talking about some ways that we can use cooking and baking to create some fun family time for children of all ages, not just at the high school level, but all the way down to our little elementary kiddos. So Matthew, talk to me a little bit about ways that families can get into the kitchen and maybe have some fun spending time together.
Sure. So the process of cooking has always been a great way for families to bond for as long as we can remember. And I think that especially now with everybody at home, it's really important that we get into the kitchen together instead of like, I'm going to go cook, you stay over here. Even like you said, for the little ones, whether we're baking chocolate chip cookies and then you're having the kids like weigh and measure stuff, work on fractions, counting out, 1 tablespoon, 2 tablespoons, or even something as simple as counting chocolate chips. That way they're getting their math in, and they're learning a new skill. And believe me, everyone can make chocolate chip cookies. No matter what your skill level is in the kitchen, they're going to be good. So just simple things like that, getting the kids involved are going to get them to want to be in the kitchen more.
That's great. And I saw that you've been posting some videos online on YouTube of just like different, I saw you made an omelet in one and chocolate chip cookies in another. And so that's kind of nice that you're providing these videos so that people can follow along. Maybe they don't feel comfortable in the kitchen. They can watch your videos and make their own.
Sure. Yeah. So we, when we went to online learning, I thought the best way for my students and then their families and anyone else who's bored and wants to watch me cook some food, they could watch those videos, replicate them at home, or just watch them and gain some knowledge. But yeah, like the omelet would be another great one to do with kids because they can all do that relatively safely. There's not much to any knife work, which is good. And at the end of the day, when you cook something, you have a very tangible item that you get to enjoy, hopefully. And that's really cool. It kind of sets the kitchen apart from the rest of the schoolwork they're doing all day, which makes it a reward, which is awesome.
That's a really good point because like you said, you can get them involved in the cooking or the baking if you're making chocolate chip cookies, but then at the end, there is something to look forward to. It's not that we just have this activity and then we're done. It's, hey, you get to work together, have some fun, and at the end of the day, you've got a chocolate chip cookie to look forward to.
And who's not going to enjoy a chocolate chip cookie? I know I would. So yeah, it's a really fun thing. And we started doing it with my son. He's almost 3, so he's about a month and a half away from being 3. And we started using cooking to tie into like other stuff. So he was looking at learning about snakes with my wife. And then we took hot dogs and we wrapped them with biscuit dough, baked them, and then we talked about how snakes shed. And so the biscuit would come off after it was baked. He learned all about it. It was really cool. It got him involved. It was tactile. So it was a really fun lesson for him that I hope stuck. We'll see.
That's really interesting. I never would have thought of taking something like that, learning about snakes and then transferring that to the kitchen. I was worried there for a second that you were going to tell us about some snake recipe. So I'm glad you went off in a different direction there.
No, I'll save that for a later date. So
that's the advanced course of cooking. So,
that's right.
But so you kind of mentioned it earlier, but let's go back to that because we both work for a school system. So tell me a little bit more about how we can take cooking or baking and having fun in the kitchen, but tying in that educational component. Tell me a little bit more about that.
Well, sure. The easiest thing is when you're looking at a recipe, it's for 3 servings. Well, you can bring in multiplication by saying, okay, well, I want to double it. So then you have to multiply all those items out to get to 6 servings, or I want to half it, get 1.5 servings, and then you're doing division, etc. So math is very easy to do in the kitchen. Bringing in other things, like what a fun way to learn about different parts of the world than by using the food that you find there. Not only will it really sink in that like, hey, Latin America is below us. It's off the Gulf. They get seafood just like we get. But at the end of the day, you're going to remember, hey, I had these great tacos or whatever. And that's going to really, I think, solidify the knowledge in your head because you have something, again, tangible to tie it to.
Right. That's a really good point. And like you said, that can be taken to all different age levels, whether it's as simple as counting out the chocolate chips that are going to go in a cookie for your youngest children, or all the way up to, talking about different cultures. And I think that's a great way that you can scale that across different grade levels throughout.
For sure. There's always a job, right? For very young kids, like my son cuts things with a butter knife. Don't tell him it's a butter knife. He thinks it's a sword, but we cut tomatoes or we cut whatever, and then we'll cut it once and I'll say, all right, no, that's in half. Cut it again. You know what I mean? And you can break it down and learn to do fractions that way, etc. And again, in the kitchen, it's not them sitting and staring at a worksheet. So I think it helps break up kind of that over and over repetitiveness that can happen by delivering it in a new form.
Awesome. Okay, Matthew, kind of the final question that I had for you is, staying healthy is always important, and then maybe especially more so during this time of when we're kind of staying at home and quarantining. So do you have any recommendations or tips for healthy snacking when we're just kind of stuck at home and maybe bored for a large period of time?
Yeah, so snacking is real difficult right now because you are sitting at home and you're like, well, it's been 30 minutes since I ate. I better have something else. And Lord knows, I'm dealing with that. So I kind of look at it like normal snacking throughout the week should be those healthy items that you should be eating, right? Hummus and carrots and celery or the occasional pita chip, whatever. But then I think it's important, even for us big kids, that occasionally we make that snack something a little less healthy, whether it's banana pudding or bowl of ice cream. Just because if you're doing it all healthy all the time, I think everybody's gonna go a little crazy. But my philosophy has always been, hey, if you're making it from scratch and going all the way through it and doing all that work, go ahead and eat it. That's so much work and effort that you've kind of earned the right to eat that. Maybe not, with the quarantine, we probably want to stay with vegetables and fresh fruits and things that are going to boost our immune system or boost our immune system. And the best way to do that is just obviously a diversity of colors in your diet. It's what everyone always tells us in the kitchen. And so that's your best option. But don't forget the benefits of, like I said, a bowl of cookies and cream ice cream. So.
No, that makes perfect sense. Yeah, we've been trying to eat healthy here at this household, but then I watched your video on how to make chocolate chip cookies, and I'm like, okay, we got to try that. So there is definitely a balance between the two.
For sure, yeah, you've got to have a little balance in there. Big snacks that are popular in my house right now are, ants on a log, things like that. Get some protein, get some vegetable, try and keep the calorie count low, and that's a good snack at that point. So.
Okay, perfect, Matthew. Thank you so much. I really appreciate you being here today virtually. Thanks for giving us tips on ways that we can have a little bit of fun in the kitchen and spend some time with the kiddos, and just keep making those cooking videos. We all look forward to seeing them, and thanks again for being here today.
I appreciate it so much. Thank you very much.
Okay, bye everybody. Stay safe.